Hello and welcome to episode 35 of Some Like It Real. I'm Bryan.
And I'm Veronica.
And we're two cinephiles who love to talk movies.
We have weekly episodes discussing the newest films, creating lists and drafts, and keeping you updated on the latest movie headlines and awards races.
As a reminder, please like, rate, and subscribe on YouTube and your favorite podcast platform, which helps more people find the show.
And share it with any cinephiles in your life. Wow, Bryan, what's with that laugh?
Well, it's related to today's auction draft, and it's all about Seth Rogen.
Yes, Seth Rogen, of course, that's what it was. Yes, the actor, writer, producer, director, all-around Canadian king.
The one and only. With the release of his new film, The Invite, around the corner, we thought it would be a perfect time to draft the films of Seth Rogen.
And hopefully we don't have to hear that laugh again. Only Seth Rogen can perfect the Seth Rogen laugh.
Damn, that kind of stings, but you are also correct. Hopefully our guest has nice things to say about my Seth Rogen laugh impression. Joining us for today's draft is the one and only Leah Carlson-Downie. Leah, welcome to the show. Very excited to have you here. I have two questions to pose to you. First of all, how are you? And more importantly, did I do a good job with the laugh?
I am doing really well. Thank you for having me. I cannot wait to talk about Seth Rogen. I'm not really a competitive person by nature, I don't think, but I'm hoping, actually I know that the auction draft is going to bring it out of me, so watch out. The laugh I'm going to give I'll give it like a C. It was
I'll
in
take
the
a
right
C.
direction.
It's not bad.
I don't think I would have guessed Seth Rogen without you telling me, so that kind of brings it down a little bit.
Fair enough. I'll take a C over an F.
It's a passing grade.
It is. That's exactly it.
C's get degrees.
Exactly.
Very generous of you, Leah. Welcome. We're thrilled to be drafting alongside you today. Seth Rogen has had quite the eclectic career, circling back to the late 90s, so this is surely going to be a ball. Before we begin, Bryan, would you like to explain the rules?
Yes, so we will each have $1,000 to spend on putting together a team of 4 films, totaling 12 movies in all. We will be drafting in traditional snake style, and if you fill up your team, you are forbidden from nominating any more films, even if it might be your turn to do so. An important factor, I say this every single time that we do these drafts, other than this being auction style, is that just because you pick a film doesn't necessarily mean you get it. You get to nominate that film for the bidding.
It's a shame that the studio isn't eligible today.
In our hearts, it is. That's his best work, by the way. I think that's the best thing that he's ever done.
It's good, but I disagree. It's his best. He's good though. It's good, but
the fact that he is not only acting in it, but he writes it, produces it, directs it, does everything with it, that is just really impressive. But we'll touch upon that when we get into the draft. But before we get into the actual draft and talk about these films, we have to pick the draft order. So I have our names on a wheel, wheelofnames.com. Thank you again for not sponsoring us. I have our names in the order of Bryan, Veronica, and Leah. I don't know what's going to happen here. This isn't rigged. This isn't screen record, so we shall see what happens. So here we go. Spin.
Oh. Wow, that looks like a number 1 pick for me. Wow, has that ever happened? Second time, maybe?
Second time.
Second time, right? Wow.
This is your second time going first.
Feeling good about this draft already.
And next up will be... Ooh, tough. Oh!
Ooh, close one.
Ooh, it's Bryan. Oh,
Very
okay.
close one.
All right.
You're at the turn, which isn't a bad spot to be in. A lot of people are like, oh, I hate going last, but you're at the turn, and that's usually a good place to be in.
That's true.
So the order is Veronica, me, and Leah. Before we get into drafting, let's go around and talk a bit about what Seth Rogen means to us. So, Leah, as our guest, what does Seth Rogen mean to you?
So I think he's so funny. I have been known to say that I have the sense of humor of a 12-year-old boy. Like, I'm inside at the core of myself. I'm a 12-year-old boy in many ways. So I think he's legitimately funny. I love his sense of humor. He has been around for so long. He's been making movies like as long as I can remember. I mean, like, there's not really a period of my, life from tweenhood on where he was not making movies. So, he's been a fixture. And then, do you want me to be really honest?
Please.
Okay, I don't want to give away my strategy at all here, but if I'm being really, really honest, Seth Rogen is one of my longest standing celebrity crushes. I think he's so hot. I love him. Yeah, that's it. That's all I have to say. I have a huge crush on Seth Rogen.
I told everyone that I found a fish hot this week, so this is hardly the hottest take that's come across our desk.
I don't think it should be a hot take at all.
No,
it's not. Yeah. I think everyone needs to be on this train. But yeah, hopefully that doesn't tip my hand too much as far as my strategy. But those are my cards on the table.
And Veronica posing the question to you: what is your history with Seth Rogen, and what does he mean to you?
I also think he's pretty hot, for the record.
Yeah, one of us.
Yeah, like you said, Leah, like he's just been around for as long as I can remember. Definitely was the comedies, the huge, studio comedies when he really blew up was all kind of during my like late childhood to early teenage years. So, that was definitely just around in the culture. And then, yeah, I've just loved to see how he's really progressed and transformed like over these last few years, and he kind of keeps some of that same sensibility. It's he's got sort of he's got that signature laugh. He's got like a very there's a Seth Rogen-ness about him, both in his performance and his writing and everything. But he's branched out to so many different directions, and it's really cool to see how we touched on the studio. It's just really cool how he's taken all of these years that he spent in the industry and is like channeling that into this really wildly ambitious and successful and funny TV show that he's, has a hand in everything in writing, directing, producing, and starring in. So, I've just been thrilled with what he's been up to the last few years. So excited to see him in The Invite. That's been really high on my watch list. So, excited to talk about some of his best work today.
I will jump on the train and also say that he is hot.
I am so excited. This makes me so happy that we're all on the same page here. This is a Seth Rogen fan club. Hell yeah.
He's not even a conventional hot, which I really appreciate about him. I always love an actor that's not your conventional, like, sort of hot. Like, he's his own version of hot, and I respect that very much about him, where it's unintentional, and it works for me, quite frankly. I've been a fan of him for a long time. He's been in many comedies that I've loved throughout my teen years into my adult years. Obviously, like what you guys have said, the progression of his career over the last, I would say particularly the last decade, has been so fascinating. He's done a lot more dramatic work. He's done a lot of stuff producing and writing, and then of course everything that he's done with the studio. Like I said at the top, that to me that might be the best thing that he's done, because he has his hand in everything, and I just love the ambitiousness of it. I am sad that we can't draft it today because obviously it's not a film, but I really admire his craft. I love how he performs. I love him as a person. He just seems like a very humble, down-to-earth guy, and I have so much love and respect for him. So I'm really excited to draft these films. Like Veronica said, very excited for The Invite. I'm specifically excited to see what he does in that film. And to be honest, it seems like only he can make someone being in a possible four-way hilarious. Just him being like, you, me, her. Like, I don't know. I just think it's so funny. I'm very excited to see it. But unfortunately, we cannot draft that movie because no one here has seen it. But we are going to put 12, hopefully really exceptional films on the board. I am so excited to do this draft. This is going to be absolutely wild. I have no idea what directions it's going to go. I don't really have a grasp of your guys' taste with Seth Rogen. So I have no idea which direction you're going to lean with when filling up your team. So without further ado, is it time to begin the draft?
I think so. Let's get into it.
All right, Veronica, you get to go first. What is the first film that you're going to put on your team and the board as a whole?
Oh my God, so much pressure. I'm not usually used to going first. Let's see. I'm thinking, as we mentioned up top, he's got kind of broke in by doing these, big studio comedies, and that's kind of what he was known for a long time. So I'm like, do I delve into one of those, or do I pick something a little more unconventional? I'd say let's get the bidding started and everything with something that is one of his bigger titles. Let's go for How much money? I'll throw it out there for $100. Let's put Knocked Up out there. So I haven't rewatched this in a while. I remember really loving it. I've seen it, multiple times. Him and Katherine Heigl starring. Again, you also want to work in, like, as we're drafting, he has a lot of supporting roles in a lot of big movies, and so, like, supporting versus lead, but, like, this is, like, a Seth Rogen movie. He's the star, directed by Judd Apatow, so, you have to imagine there's a lot of his own sensibility going into it, but I really love this movie. I think that they have a great dynamic. It's kind of the quintessential version of his, like, slacker character who is, hooks up with this overachiever woman, and the pregnancy that results, and how to deal with it. I love Paul Rudd and Leslie Mann in supporting roles here. There's great scenes throughout she works in a newsroom, and great scenes there. Just all of their interactions at home. I think that this one is one that I think of favorably, and is, like, when I think about a Seth Rogen movie, this is kind of one of the first that come to mind.
Yeah, I'm gonna up it to 200.
Nice.
I also really like this movie. This is the movie that made Seth Rogen a star. Like, this is the movie that made him a movie star. He'd been working with Judd Apatow consistently up to that point. He did Freaks and Geeks with Judd Apatow. That was his very first thing. And we cannot nominate Freaks and Geeks because it's a TV show, but I adore Seth Rogen's performance in that.
Yes.
He is so natural and perfect, and he really... I think he impressed Judd Apatow too on that show, according to him, and according to Rogen and according to Apatow, that's kind of when they, established their working bond. And at first Apatow was like, this guy's young, whatever, but he impressed as an actor, and he impressed as a writer. He brought ideas to the table on Freaks and Geeks. He was a part of the writer's table on Undeclared, which I also love. And he was also on Undeclared. And then Rogen was also in The 40-Year-Old Virgin, which might come up at some point in this draft, but he was a supporting role in that. And then Apatow worked with Rogen and wrote Knocked Up for him. And it's a great role for Rogen. I think one of the things that I really love about his performance in this movie is that he sells the romance part. I really think that Seth Rogen is one of our most underrated romantic leading men of the 21st century. Like, the way that he looks at his female co-stars, the hard eyes, it's so good. And, like, this movie, I think it's a bad rep from people who haven't seen it or haven't seen it in a long time. And they're like, oh, Seth Rogen and Katherine Heigl, like, it's the schlubby guy and the hot blonde and whatever. But I would challenge you, if you think that, to go back and watch the meet cute scene in Knocked Up at the club when they meet. It's so cute. And you can totally see why why she goes home with him. It's so cute. And I think that that's, his ability to sell that aspect of the story is part of why it works. And I think it deservedly made him a star. I think he's great in it. He's funny and vulnerable, and but also the edges of his character aren't really sanded away. Like, he is like a slacker, stoner, loser. He has an edge of anger. So many of Seth Rogen's characters do, and this is no exception. He's great in it. I like the movie. I like Judd Apatow's kind of, comedy with a punch of emotionality in it, and this is, an example of that. So yeah, I put it up to 200.
Fuck you, hormones. You are a crazy bitch. Hormones. It's a girl. Buy some pink stuff. I will fuck my bond, doggy style. I will raise the bid to 220. This is a very, very, very great movie. And I loved what you said, Leah, about his dynamic with his female co-stars. He is a really underappreciated romantic lead. Because, again, people are like, oh, he's just a schlubby stoner guy with the funny laugh. No, there's a lot more gravitas to him, and he shows that through all these movies, even the absolutely out there raunchy comedies. But what I really love about Knocked Up specifically is how this movie is able to balance that raunchy humor with so much poignancy. And I think that even though this movie runs way too long for a comedy. There's a lot of charm throughout
The
it.
Apatow signature.
Yeah.
Typical Apatow signature, although this is absolutely towards the top of his directing outs. And I know he hasn't directed a ton of movies, but this is up there for me, certainly. This might be my favorite thing that he's directed, but that could be a different discussion later on as the pod progresses and everything. Yeah, I love the movie. I've seen it many, many times. I love his chemistry with Katherine Heigl, an actress that I admittedly don't really find myself connected to very often, but she is really great in this. And I think one of the things that makes this movie work so well is the dynamic between the two of them. Mm-hmm. And Veronica, I am so glad that you brought up Paul Rudd and Leslie Mann, because, oh my God, my favorite scene stealers ever, their whole subplot, Paul Rudd in anything is just always going to be a secret MVP. But him in this movie as Pete, I love every moment with him. I love the sequence where they go to Vegas towards the third act of the movie. I love the whole subplot of where they think that he's cheating on his wife, but he's just in a fancy baseball draft. And he's like, oh, I went to go see Spider-Man last week. I like Spider-Man.
That's such a great scene. Yeah, that is like one of the like we've said, Apatow mixes the super insane comedy with the more poignant moments. Like that's a real moment where she's really hurt by that. The fact that, he feels like he needs a break from her, and she's like, you don't think about the fact that I want that too, and I want, to spend time with each other, and that's something, something you haven't considered me. So yeah, Apatow movies are really good at juggling that kind of thing.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's a great film, and it certainly will not be the only 2007 movie brought up today. I just gotta say, 2007 for Seth Rogen was a hell of a good year for him.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. What was the last bid? What did I
year.
raise it to?
You said 220.
220. Is anyone going to raise that bid?
I'll go to 250.
I'll go to 300.
Is this Judd Apatow's best movie?
I really like This Is 40.
I'm not a big fan of This Is 40, which is sad because
really?
Paul Rudd is the lead.
You like that? Yeah, it's those characters.
Well, I do like them, but that movie just didn't. I didn't find it as emotionally investing or funny as this movie. But admittedly, I haven't seen that movie in forever, so I do need to sit down and give it another rewatch.
I think my favorite might be The 40-Year-Old Virgin, which may come up later.
I love that one too. Yeah,
I agree. I think that might
That's
be
the one that I've
my
watched
favorite
the
one.
most. I love that movie. Yeah, that might be my favorite Judd Apatow.
I like most of his movies more than I dislike. I mean, there's really only one that I don't like at all, and that was the COVID movie that he made.
Oh, I didn't even see that.
I didn't see it. Yeah.
It was pretty bad. Pretty bad.
That's funny. And I like the two kind of later ones he did. I like Trainwreck, and I like the one he did with
King of Staten Island.
Yeah, I liked both
I
of
like that
those.
one too.
Yeah.
I like both of those movies too.
Yeah. I kind of like him in that mode where he's working with,
and now he's shooting the movie with Glenn Powell.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That Glenn Powell co-wrote. So I'm a big fan of Hitman, the movie that he did with Richard Linklater that he co-wrote. So I don't anticipate it being as strong as that. Like, I'm a huge fan of Hitman. So I hope that it brings that same kind of comedy blend to it and everything. I'm really excited. And Glenn Powell's a country star, and it's like, what more do you want?
Yeah, that's and we're talking about Apatow kind of builds these movies around the stars. That's why I feel like Knocked Up is like, unadulterated Seth Rogen. Like it's like some of the best stuff he can do. So I will raise it to 325. I do really feel like this is like him in a lead in a mainstream comedy. Like I feel like I need something like that on my board, on my team. So because I don't know if the other ones might mix in some more supporting or some less conventional ones. So yeah, I'm gonna up this one to 325.
Do I want to go up or do I want to bow out? Leah, are you gonna?
I'll go to 350. I'll go to 350.
350. Okay, it's getting up there.
I think I'm gonna let you two duke it out.
360.
You can have it. 350 was my limit. We'll see. I've got to decide if my strategy is to go for votes or go with my heart.
That's the age-old question.
I'm going with my heart, so I'm bowing out. It's yours. Gotcha. I mean, I love Knocked Up. I do love Knocked Up, but I have 4 other ones that I love that I think we'll see.
What would you say is the funniest moment from Knocked Up? It could be a moment involving Seth Rogen, or it could be just any other moment in the movie.
Ooh.
There's the scene with her. I know it's Kristen Wiig, and I don't remember who the other actor is. When her like bosses at the news station, when they're like,
isn't it Bill Hader?
I might be. I don't remember. They're like
I
telling
think
her
it is.
very like subtle, like to lose weight.
Oh,
and stuff,
it
and she's
is
like,
Bill Hader. Yeah,
it is Bill Hader, right?
Hader.
Yeah, they have such a good dynamic all the time. So I don't remember specific lines, but I just remember them being like she's like so outwardly like antagonistic to her. It's really funny.
I'd set up at the top, I'm very juvenile. I do think that all of Seth Rogen's roommates in that movie are hilarious. They're such dumbasses, and when they're talking about giving each other pink eye from farting on their pillows, that cracks me up every time.
my favorite of the roommates might be Jason Segel because he says everything with such a straight face.
Yeah.
So funny. Segel is an underrated talent in general. Like, he's someone that I would love to do a draft on someday because he honestly is one of my favorite working performers, especially of recent memory with the stuff that he's done with Shrinking on television. Like, I love that man. I've loved him for a very long time since I was a teenager, and he just continues to get back. He was also on Freaks and Geeks, right?
Yeah,
Segel?
yes, he was on Freaks and Geeks. I feel like Freaks and Geeks just launched so many careers. Like, there are so many. It's a killer's row of a cast.
Them, James Franco, Linda Cardellini,
Martin Starr.
Yeah. Now I'm blanking on his name. John Francis Daly, who plays Linda Cardellini's brother.
Who went on to direct the masterpiece Game Night.
Exactly.
And Dungeons and Dragons. Excuse
another
you.
masterpiece.
Exactly. So no, it is definitely like a who's who when you go back and watch Freaks and Geeks. You're like, damn, Judd, you put it together.
So Veronica got knocked up for 360. That's a very, very, very strong get. It's definitely a good vote getter for sure.
I feel good about it.
Next up is me. I'm going to just rip off the Band-Aid and go with the other 2007, I almost said Jonah Hill. Well, it has Jonah Hill in it as well, like knocked up. Superbad is going to be the next film on the board. Obviously, Seth Rogen does have a supporting role in this, but it's important to point out that he is one of the writers of this film, and also the main character is named Seth. So very much fitting in line with Seth Rogen and his writing partner, his partner in crime, Evan Goldberg. I'm going to start this at $200. This is one of my all-time favorite comedies. I think that this is a film that has stayed timeless. It's a film that was definitely a product of 2007, but the fact that it still remains a classic to this day, almost 20 years later, to where you could watch it now, like say you're in high school now and you could still find some enjoyment out of it. It's a great coming-of-age film. It's a great party film. It's a great high school film. And I think that all around, the screenplay is so sharp and so clever. And again, this is another film that obviously leans more into the raunchy, absurd side, but there's so much heart in this film as well because of the friendship between Seth and Evan. You care so much about them. You know that they're going to be going separate once they go off to college, but you could feel how strong that bond is as the movie progresses. And it's also a great example of how to make a strong movie set primarily in one day. So this is one of the funniest films ever. Seth Rogen in his supporting role, partnering up with Bill Hader as the officers. They are so unbelievably good here. They are so good. A lot of the funniest moments from the movie do come from the two of them, but it also helps that they're two of the funniest performers that we have out there, period, and their dynamic with the great McLovin. How could you not enjoy that whole dynamic? That trio is one of the greatest trios. We had our Pixar draft recently. We talked about great duos and like Woody and Buzz and Mike and Sully, but if you want to talk about a great trio, the two officers and McLovin, that's a powerful trio if I've ever seen one. So, yeah, $200 is going to be my starting bid for Superbad.
I watched this for the first time today. I have definitely seen like clips of it and you know, I just don't think I've actually sat down and just didn't catch it at the time. It's a little too young for it, I guess, and then just never really sat down and did a full watch of it. So watch it today. Yeah, totally lived up to it. It was, you know, I definitely heard comparisons about it when Booksmart came out, which was one of my favorite movies that year. And, you know, and obviously Jonah Hill and Beanie Feldstein and everything. And the connection's definitely there. And, yeah, I love a One Crazy Night movie. It's, you know, you've got all of the humor there. But yeah, like you said, Brian, the Seth and Evan and the anxiety about going off to college and, you know, Seth not getting into the same one as him. And so that means they're going to be separated and just they feel like they're being held back and by each other, and all that stuff is rich too. And yeah, Bill Hader and Seth Rogen as the cops are so good. Like the moment when when Michael Cera runs away from him and he's the fastest kid alive. He's just so, yeah. I really like the movie overall, but like scenes with them, I was like, I just want to like stay here. I don't even care about anybody else right now. They would totally steal the movie. So
I love how every time they were driving, they just put the siren on, and then as soon as they went through the light, they shut it off.
Yeah, this is totally a scene stealer from him. And yeah, the fact that he wrote it, it's like, it's definitely of his brain and everything. So yeah, I will bump it up. What did you bid on it?
$200.
I'll bump it to $225.
Yeah, I love this movie. It's one of my favorite coming of age movies as well. I think it's so funny. I was in 8th grade, or maybe I was in 8th grade or 9th grade. I can't remember, depending on the time of year it came out. I think it came out in the summer, didn't it?
August 2007.
Yeah, okay. So I was just starting high school when this movie came out, and this was one of those movies that just seeped into the cultural consciousness, particularly if you were a teenager. Like, I didn't see this movie until, a few years after it came out, but I felt like I had seen it because all the boys in my school were like, repeating the jokes. Everyone was talking about it. It was just like one of those things that you knew about it even if you hadn't seen it. It totally, like I said, just like seeped into the cultural consciousness. And it's really good. I love this movie. I don't think that I'm going to bid on it simply because it's such a small Seth Rogen performance. And I really love that you mentioned that this came out in 2007, same year as Knocked Up. And I feel like Knocked Up and Superbad form kind of like a little duo that kind of sets the template for Rogen's career going forward, right? There's like his acting work, and then there's his writing and producing. And I love that you shouted out Evan Goldberg, because we talk about Seth Rogen's entertainment empire, but Evan Goldberg is there at every step of the way, right? I don't know what he looks like because he's not an actor, but he's 100% like 50-50 partner in it with Seth Rogen. And so yeah, Superbad is very key to his career in that way. So I think it definitely has a place in this draft, but for my personal kind of criteria for what I was looking for putting together my team, I don't think I'm going to bid on it just for that reason, but I do love this movie.
I can't believe that this movie's almost 20 years old. Like,
doesn't that blow your mind?
It does blow my mind, because I do vaguely remember seeing like the posters and the trailers for this movie and everything. And obviously I didn't see it when it came out because I was 9 years old, but I specifically remember the time of when this came out, because I think there was a night where my parents went to go see this in the theater, and they left me and my sister with my grandparents to like watch us and everything. So I think it was this movie. It was some movie in that summer, but I just don't remember which one it was. But yeah, it's great. What did you raise the bid to, Veronica?
$225.
I'll go $250. And it's also important to mention, one of the things that obviously makes this movie work is the unbelievable pairing of Jonah Hill and Michael Cera. They work off each other beautifully. I've had my opinions about Jonah Hill, like in recent memory and everything, but I cannot deny the fact that he is unbelievably funny in this, as is Michael Cera. And I think it's cool, too, that Michael Cera in 2007 had a fascinating career because he just came off of doing Arrested Development, the 3 seasons of that. And this was the same year that Juno came out, which was also a massively popular movie. And, when you think of 2007 and you look at lists of the best movies of that year, those are 2 films that actively have been seen on top 10 lists of that year. So it was really fun to see Michael Cera essentially being 2 of the films that defined that culture during that time. So, yeah.
And 2000, like a famously good year. Like,
yeah.
And that's one of the best with 99. And
yeah. Spoiler alert for next year, 2027, we're doing a 2007 movie draft. It's absolutely happening. Best of luck to whoever gets There Will Be Blood or No Country for Old Men, or both.
Yeah, there's a lot of love to share. So
yeah,
you're right that like it's crazy. It's almost 20 years old. Even not having fully given it a watch until now, it was like just the fake ID with McLovin on it. It's like everybody has seen that
about
a million
McLovin
times.
whether you've seen the movie or not,
know.
right?
Exactly.
And so few movies get a gag so good that it's just like has a life outside of the film, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like it's one name.
Yeah.
Brian, you
One
brought
name.
it to,
What are you, Seal?
Brian, you left off at 250.
250. Also, can we please mention the fact that this is the feature debut of Emma Stone?
Of course
Imagine
we
watching this
can.
in 2007 when it came out, and then you're like, oh, by the way, this woman is going to win 2 Oscars.
She came on screen, and I literally said to myself, 2-time Oscar award winner. There she is, just being like, the sort of sidekick girlfriend thing. But
There's multiple
kills
things
it.
that
She
I think
doesn't-
of now whenever I rewatch this movie. That's one thing, and then I think of the meme where she's like, let's dance, let's dance.
to Jonah Hill, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, 250
yeah.
was the last bid.
I'll raise you 275.
I will go 285.
290.
295.
Well, just make it 300 then.
305.
Okay, you can have it.
Sweet.
It's like we're going ticky-tacky here now. You're just playing chicken with each other. $5?
Instead of going up $1.
Yeah.
All right, so super bad I got for 305. That's a very good get. So, Leah, you get the opportunity to put 2 films on the board. You're going to
Okay.
put 1 film on the board. We're going to talk about that, and then you'll get to put another one. So, what is
Okay.
going to be the first film that you put on the board today?
All right, we're going mid-career. I am going to put up This Is the End. This is from 2013. It's Seth Rogen's directorial debut. So he and Evan Goldberg directed it together. They co-wrote it and directed it. It's based on a short film that they had written earlier. And it is kind of one of those movies that just feels tailor-made for me. I've seen it so many times. It cracks me up every time. It is kind of, very different in tone, but like the studio, it is like a Hollywood satire. One of the things I love about it is everyone in the movie is playing themselves, which is fun. I mean, Seth Rogen has kind of a penchant for playing himself. He's done it a few times, most notably in season 2 of The Comeback. He has a really, he does a great job. It's a really good guest turn where he plays himself. If you have not seen The Comeback, you should. It's a really good show. But it's in season 2 of The Comeback. He's playing himself. And he's done it a couple other times. But then This Is the End is kind of the largest scale thing he's done where he's playing himself. And it's basically him and all of his Hollywood friends get stuck in James Franco's house during the apocalypse. So the only person not playing... Well, Jay Baruchel plays himself, but he's kind of like a stand-in for Evan Goldberg almost. Like his character, I think, is maybe the least connected to his real life persona, but Jay Baruchel doesn't really have as strong of a kind of real life persona as some of the other actors in this movie, so it works. But I love this movie. It cracks me up every time. I love Hollywood satire. I love actors playing themselves. I love crude humor. I love action comedies. I love Danny McBride, and he steals this movie. Like, he really does.
I just think that everybody should have the fucking same. I have a goddamn earring. Shut the fuck up, Jonah. You're making me into a joke right now, Franco, and you're not going to like the fucking punchline.
The extended riff about him jacking off all over the house just gets me every time. Every time. Every time. And he's got such a great entrance too, right? Like you don't even realize he's in the house until like 30 minutes into the movie because the party's over and he wakes up in the bathtub. Oh my God.
And they're on the overhead shot of all the food and he just does this, the bird thing.
Oh man.
I'm obsessed.
It's so good. So I love this movie. I like Seth Rogen's performance in it. Obviously, he directed and wrote it. It's definitely a Seth Rogen joint through and through. One of the things that I like about his performance in it is, again, it's a little bit of a play, like I said, on this accusation that he's always playing himself. He's like, fine, I'll literally play myself then. But he's also such a generous scene partner. He did not write himself as the star, right? Like he writes his role and then he really lets his co-stars kind of have the big moments. And he really kind of always does this as a performer. It's one of the things that I love about him, that, as a screen presence and as an actor, he has a distinct thing going on. He has a presence. Like, he's not boring to watch. He doesn't recede to the background or anything. He has a star presence, but he is just so generous. And always knows when to let someone else have the moment. And I think that this movie is actually, like, weirdly a great example of that. So I'm going to start the bidding. I mean, I know you're going to fight me for it, but I'll start low. We'll do 100.
I'm going to go up to $200. This movie is absolutely phenomenal. It is so fucking funny, and it's so good, and it still holds up to me.
I rewatched it just the other day because I was like, I want to just like make sure, because I hadn't seen it in a few years. It's still funny.
Yeah, the fact that it's still able to hold up is absolutely crazy to me. I remember seeing this when it came out. I loved it. This was also a very funny year because we had another apocalyptic comedy with The World's End, another movie that I flat out adore. I love that movie too. I don't know which one I like more. I like both of them equally. It's really tough for me to pick one over the other. And I like that they're both very different too. I like that they're not very similar and everything, but yeah, I'm a sucker for a good Hollywood satire. I love whenever actors make fun of themselves. This movie is cameo palooza. There's a lot of great cameos in this film.
Speaking of Michael Cera, his death at the beginning, you're in for a good time the second he like shows up as a cokehead and then he gets impaled. It's so good.
Who took my fucking cell phone?
It's so good.
Martin, I saw you do it.
It's so good. It's so good. I think Michael Cera, great cameo. Limited screen time makes a huge impression.
Yeah, but I have to agree with you completely about how, despite the fact that this is a Seth Rogen draft and everything, Danny McBride is the scene stealer of the entire movie. He is so outstanding in this. Like, he's so good in this. And again, there's just things that he does. And I quoted that whole scene that you're making me into a joke right now, Franco. Like, I love that sequence. Then when they try to like shoot him in the face, he's just like, "That's what I thought, nerd."
I think about him calling Seth Rogen's character. He says he's like, he's about to storm off, and he's like he's reading all the people in Franco's house to filth, and he goes around in the circle, and he gets to Seth Rogen, and he goes, "Seth, you duplicitous taint." It's just such a great phrase, and it's so fun to say. You duplicitous taint. Oh my god.
There's just everything with him is so funny. The whole sequence where he comes in and then everyone sees him and then he just says like, "Seth, that's a better performance you've given in your last 6 movies. Where the fuck was that in Green Hornet?"
Yep.
And then the Jonah Hill thing. "Jonah, you're an Academy Award nominated person. You have to show some passion. Fatalities. There were some fatalities. Fatalities. Okay, that was pretty good." Love it. What did I raise the bid to? 200?
300. No, 200. You said 200. Yeah.
Are you raising it to 300?
I am raising it to 300.
Okay.
I mean, I want this one.
Spoiler alert, I'm not going to bid on this. I have not seen this since about around when it came out, although I feel like I just did with you two both.
I know, I was going to say, it's one of those movies, awesome. You start quoting it and you can't stop.
You cannot stop at all. 300... 325.
I gotta go to 350. The reveal again. We're getting back to Danny McBride, but the scene where he comes back after he's stormed off, and he comes back and he's started this roving cannibal band, and he's got this gimp on a leash, and the reveal, it turns out the gimp is Channing Tatum. Like, that's the hardest I've laughed in a theater probably ever in my life. One of the times.
We haven't eaten in days, and you, my friend, look delicious.
So we 350 for Channing Tatum.
Channing Tate, yum. 360.
375.
Okay, how much money do I have?
Already
380.
Bid yet.
390.
400.
410.
415.
425.
I'm out.
Well played.
I hope this doesn't. This was the one that I think I was willing to spend the most on. So we'll see.
Fair enough.
We'll see.
I almost put this on the board first, but then I'm like, Superbad is just one of my favorite comedies. I knew that I had to put it on the board, especially like since Veronica didn't put it up first. I'm like, well, this is my chance to do it.
It's under half your budget. That's we've done worse than that on our first pick.
I know. I
We
mean,
have.
I think of the Gosling draft, the amount of money spent on Barbie.
Yeah, I really went high on that.
Yeah, I feel like if I get out
And
for
Veronica somehow still didn't even win. It's because she didn't have La La Land on her team. Unfortunately, La La Land is a cheat code to win these drafts.
Yeah.
But thankfully, we don't have any drafts coming up where La La Land is eligible. Emma Stone does not have a movie coming out this year, thankfully. At least not to my knowledge. Okay, you get to put another film on the board, so what are you going to put on the board next?
Okay, my next one, we are going to do another rom-com. I'm going to nominate Long Shot. I love this movie. It's from 2019. It is a pure rom-com. I mean, it's definitely raunchy. It's a rated R raunchy ranch-com, which I love. That's a genre that I always gravitate to. And it was a flop when it came out in theaters. It didn't really make that much money. I think it's found some life on streaming. People have found it and they're like, oh, this movie's good. But it was kind of used in this as an example in this narrative of like, oh, the rom-com's dead except on streaming, you know, like a theatrically released rom-com can't make money. Like if Seth Rogen and Charlize Theron can't sell a rom-com, we're doomed. But I saw this movie in the theater in the middle of the day completely by myself. I loved it. I left grinning like ear to ear. I love this movie. I think its political commentary is a little muddled. I don't really love like the political humor of it. It kind of takes place in this world where it's like, what is going on? Like this is not actually reflective of our real world. And I think it blunts kind of the impact of the political satire. But as a rom-com, it fires on all cylinders. I think Rogen and Theron have amazing chemistry. The supporting players, June Diane Raphael cracks me up. She's so funny. What's his name? O'Shea Jackson Jr. He's great. I mean, I hate what they do to his character at the end. Like that scene, I was like, why'd you do that to him?
But what about Andy Samberg and all that makeup?
Yeah, no, not Andy Samberg.
Not Andy Samberg. Andy Serkis.
Andy Serkis. Yeah. So I love this movie. I think it's one of Charlize Theron's best performances. So again, you know, Rogen is the co-lead, but it's Theron's movie. Like the hostage negotiation scene when she's on Molly, one of the funniest scenes of the 2010s. I love it. And the physical comedy when she pulls out the cigarette and she slouches under the table and she's like, we don't negotiate with terrorists, but we do negotiate with homies. Like it's so good. It's so good. But like I said, I think their chemistry is believable. It's sweet. It's cute. It's sexy. I love it. And it is kind of an update on like the Seth Rogen type, you know, like by this point in his career, he's not playing the sort of like true schlubby kind of slacker stoner character. You know, his character in A Long Shot is a journalist and he's, you know, he has a career that he's passionate about. He's, you know, successful in his own way. I mean, the movie kind of touches on the crumbling journalism industry. But he, you know, he's passionate, he's successful, he's, you know, his character definitely again has that sort of Seth Rogen edge, that little like whatever that kind of edge of anger is that a lot of his characters have. He has that, but it's kind of transmuted into something else. And this is kind of the beginning, I think, of this kind of new type that he starts playing, like in Platonic, for example, his TV show with Rose Byrne. And he kind of carries it from Long Shot on. Anyway, I love Long Shot, so I'm going to start the bidding at 100.
I have not seen this movie since it came out. I remember really, really enjoying it. I was really impressed with, obviously, the Seth Rogen of it all, but I was really, really particularly impressed with Charlize Theron's comedic timing. She was so funny in this, and I was so surprised by this. And I always love it whenever an actor who primarily does dramatic, serious roles hops into doing a comedy and showcases that, oh, they actually have great comedic timing. And Charlize admittedly hasn't done a lot of comedy in her career, and I think that this movie told us that she needs to do more comedy. And
Yeah.
her chemistry with Rogen is off the charts good. They're so good together. I'm not going to be participating in this bid, but it's a very good film, and it's one that I've been wanting to revisit for a long time. And yeah, it's a very funny one.
Yeah, I wanted a chance to rewatch this before so it's even fresher in my mind. But I remember really loving this movie, and yeah, the moment when he's like getting to know her and stuff, and she like explains how she's just this super powerful, busy woman and everything, and she like sleeps standing up, and she like has never watched Game of Thrones, but she like knows everything that happens on it, so she has her like talking points set and stuff. It's just like funny little, it's smart about stuff like that, and just making her seem like this like alien person who has to be so rigorous and like disciplined with herself, and then the way that they obviously are opposites attract, and they're just a really good pair in this. So yeah, I will up that to 125.
Okay. I think I'll go to 150. Yeah, one of the things that I love about this movie for sure is a little bit of the way that the script kind of flips the gender dynamics of a lot of romance films. Like, I love that, and there were a few rom-coms at the time that kind of did this. This wasn't a unique. I mean, I think the other one that comes to mind when I talk about Long Shot is Always Be My Maybe, that was on Netflix. That was another one where it's about this like high-powered career woman, and the man who falls for her. But I like the way that it's done in this film. I love how down bad he is for her. And like I said, I love that it's still raunchy. It's still a Seth Rogen joint. I mean, there's a scene there's a pivotal scene. It's actually like a linchpin of the plot, where Seth Rogen's character is like caught on film, masturbating to one of Charlize Theron's character's speeches. So he's like so into her doing her job well, like reading this speech that he wrote.
Literally competency porn.
Yeah, and he comes on himself. And he's like, "Oh boy," and then the kind of background for these two characters is that they used to know each other when they were kids. She was a little older than him, so she would babysit him, and he had a crush on her then. And he has like this embarrassing story about like how she saw him get a hard on for her. So like this is a rom-com for sure, which I like that. I think it's endearing. I'm very much a person who thinks something can be sweet and sexy at the same time. Like those two things are not mutually exclusive. And I think that this movie strikes a really good balance. So yeah, gonna go up to 150.
I'll bring it to 175. And second, what you said for O'Shea Jackson, and especially June Diane Raphael. I love when she pops up in anything. So good.
Yeah.
So yeah, 175.
185.
Okay, I'm again trying to balance, like, this is another, like, co-lead role for him where he's front and center. So I kind of want to make sure I have at least a few of those. 195.
200.
All right, you can have it.
Oh. Okay, now I'm running out of money.
But you only have 2 slots left to fill, so.
That's true. Long Shot is one of my favorite movies.
Yeah.
It's actually one of my favorite rom-coms. I wanted it on my team. I was like, I don't want to get myself in a bad spot, but I gotta get that one.
Yeah. I feel like just about anyone could enjoy this one.
Yeah.
Okay, next up for me. Wow, this is really tough. This is actually like really difficult. Okay. We're going to go from one Jonathan Levine film to another Jonathan Levine film. I'm going to start the bid for $50 for 50-50.
Oh, I love that. That makes sense. You have to.
I fucking love 50-50 so much. This is a movie that I have been championed since it came out. I remember seeing it in 2011. I think I went with my dad and my sister to go see this in the theater, and it was so funny, but it was also really sad. Like, this is, for anyone who doesn't know what this film is about, it has Joseph Gordon-Levitt as the leading character. He is a 27-year-old man who finds out that he is diagnosed with this very rare form of cancer. And he learns that the possibility of beating this cancer is 50-50. Seth Rogen is his best friend. Anna Kendrick is his therapist. Bryce Dallas Howard is his girlfriend. And Angelica Houston is his mother. So you have this really great ensemble at the forefront. This is Joseph Gordon-Levitt's movie through and through, and I think he is absolutely lights out here. This might be my favorite performance that he's ever given, but this movie does a really bold thing by writing a fine line between being super serious and poignant with the themes that it's tackling, but then balancing it out with this beautiful array of humor to where it reminds us that you have to live life to the fullest because you don't know how much longer you're going to have on this earth. And Seth Rogen being the best friend, sure, he definitely brings his typical Seth Rogen isms to this role, and maybe it could feel a little repetitive compared to everything that he had done prior, but it's such a charming performance. It's a very out there performance. There's many moments throughout this movie that make me guffaw. But then when you see the sincerity deep within him of how much he cares about his best friend and wants him to beat this cancer and wants to help him break out of his shell in the midst of this horrible situation, I think it makes for a really great buddy film and a beautiful dramedy at its core. The screenplay is great. The directing is really good. And again, the performances are outstanding. And this, fittingly enough, isn't the only time JGL and Seth Rogen have worked together. And, you know, the other film that they made together could be brought up later today. We'll have to see what happens. But I think that they make for a really dynamic duo. And I would love to see them continue to work with each other. And my favorite moment in the film involving Seth Rogen is when he's at this art gallery with this girl that he met, and he catches Bryce Dallas Howard doing something really, really bad. He takes out his phone, takes a picture, and excuse my language when I say this, he's just like, "Ugh, I fucking nailed that cunt. Can you believe that?"
But the best
I don't usually talk like that.
Yeah, I was gonna say the best part is he's on a date with this other girl, and the look on her face is like, "What, you pig?" And his face changes. He's like, "I don't normally say that." Like, he's just like, "Oh, wait."
I love the movie. I'm gonna start the bid at $50.
I'm not gonna jump in on the bidding, but I do like this movie. I agree with you about the tonal balance that it strikes, being really successful. I think it's a really good Seth Rogen performance. I actually think he's one of the few people that could pull that character off, right? Because the character is a douchebag, like in many ways.
Yes.
But he's like a douchebag with a heart of gold, right? So you have to have
exactly. That's the perfect way of describing the character.
You have to have someone who's going to sell that sincerity and that tenderness, and that is always Seth Rogen's secret weapon, I think, you know, as a performer. So, you know, I think it's a good performance of his. The moment when Joseph Gordon-Levitt finds the, you know, Facing Cancer Together book in Seth Rogen's character's bathroom is so sweet.
That moment makes me cry. Moment makes me cry.
And then, you know, to get less sentimental and more horny, there's a great shot of Seth Rogen basically naked in this movie, and I love this movie for that. But I'm not gonna jump on the bidding. But it is a good movie. Good choice.
Veronica?
I will. I'll up it to 75. I didn't see it when it came out. I caught up with it a few years later on streaming somewhere. And yeah, everything that you guys are saying. Yeah, finding the book is that's the number one thing that I remember from it. That's just like such a good moment and everything. So yeah, I'll put it at 75. So you're gonna raise it from there, Brian?
I'm gonna raise it to $100. I really love this movie. Spoiler: we're doing a 2011 draft in just a couple of weeks, and this might be mentioned on that draft for sure. If I don't get it on today's episode, I definitely want to make sure I get it on that. So I just spoiled a bit of my strategy. So take what you can with that and everything. But I love it. And I also loved learning that Will Reiser, who wrote the screenplay, he took his story and brought it into this and obviously added a bit of a comedic spin. And I loved learning that he knew Seth Rogen years before this movie came to fruition. I loved reading that story and everything. And there's just so many great moments. I love the sequence where Joseph Gordon-Levitt is shaving his head and he's like, "Wait, what do you use this for? My body hair?"
I also love that this movie, I mean, I'll stop chiming in since I'm not bidding, but this is a really great movie about platonic love. Like, I
Yes.
think that the bond between Seth Rogen's character and Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character is, you know, one of the emotional cores of the movie, if not the emotional core, and kind of the thing that Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character is struggling with is like going through this experience and you know, dealing with this diagnosis and, you know, facing his own mortality, going through this ultimately without a romantic partner, which I think is always sort of the social kind of, that's the safety net. Everyone, you know, everyone builds their sort of, you know, their lives around romantic partnerships, right? Like if you're not married or you don't have a long-term domestic partner, like who are you relying on once you're an adult, you know? And that's always, I think that this movie has a really honestly beautiful vision of like, what if it's your friends? What if you have friends that are there for you that way? And like, you know, he has his parents and he kind of mends his relationship with his mom a little bit too. But I really love this movie's vision of platonic love as just as foundational and important in someone's life as an adult, as a romantic partnership.
I agree.
Yeah, that really struck me watching this movie again for this draft, which does make Seth Rogen's character and role really important in this movie.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. Brian, you can have it for 100.
Sweet.
Just wanted to.
Oh,
separate
also that
from a
movie's
little
set
bit
in
more
Seattle. Shout out to Seattle. That's where I live.
Nice. Is it a
If we ever
good
do a Seattle movie
representation?
draft, we'll be sure to bring you on for that. Great movie, great pick. All right, Veronica, back to you for 2 picks.
Next up for me. So, yeah, I mentioned that I just got to watch Superbad today. I had another first time watch that I had, you know, been on my list forever, and really enjoyed. So I'm going to throw out for $50, I'll do Funny People. So we're, you know, back to Apatow here. This is him and Seth Rogen is the supporting character, but, you know, definitely like the second lead, with Adam Sandler, who is playing this, you know, I guess sort of a version of Adam Sandler, but, you know, he's done. I love the little snippets we get of like the movies he's made within this world, because they're so like the worst like trash comedy of Adam Sandler's career that you can think of. It's like, you know, worse than that. It's like his head
I love that you
superimposed
bring
on a
that
baby.
up. I love that you bring that up because when Jay Kelly came out and there was that whole montage of Clooney's movies, I thought of this right away. Which, funnily enough, Adam Sandler is also in Jay Kelly, so it all comes back.
I was totally thinking of Jay Kelly the whole time. Yeah, it's definitely like him in that leading role, and you know, dealing with some of the same stuff. I mean, in sort of a different tone, but all of the regret and the what were my relationships versus my career, was that trade off worth it? And this has that signature Apatow, you know, super crazy comedy, and it's this his character George Simmons gets a diagnosis that he's very sick. He's you know, possibly terminal, and so, you know, this he starts to put himself out a little more, doing more stand-up. That's how he comes in contact with Seth Rogen's character, who is a you know, wannabe comedian. And so yeah, then they form this sort of, I was also thinking a lot of Hacks, which we've talked about. It's a lot of like, you know, an established super successful person with this like up-and-coming writer, who is like, you know, the way that they clash, and they're always, you know, developing jokes together. That kind of dynamic is just really fun, the way that they just sort of click right away. And like we see Adam Sandler's character be like kind of an asshole. He's like, you know, fucking every girl that he can find, and he's not really, you know, he doesn't really think about anything outside of his own little bubble. And so we find that his sort of woman that got away was Leslie Mann. She comes in. I love Leslie Mann. I know that she's like, you know, she's very much in this oeuvre and stuff, and shows up in a lot of these movies. I think that she is like a highlight anytime she's here. She's just like fantastic. And yes, we get Jonah Hill, Jason Schwartzman, Aubrey Plaza all showing up in supporting roles as like his roommates that he has, you know, competition over, you know, trying to get with Aubrey Plaza. And yeah, I think this is a really great role for him. It's his thing. It's like him, you know, being you know, as you said, like kind of playing himself to a degree, but it's a little more understated. It's a little more like naturalistic. I think we get to see more of like, you know, show business stuff, at the like upper echelons, because like, you know, Adam Sandler's character is just like so crazy rich and can kind of like do whatever he wants. So yeah, the way that they play off of each other, there's a whole like there are crazy comedian cameos in this that all like are kind of showing up for his character. And yeah, I think that it's got that, it's really shaggy, you know, it's got the Apatow, like it's the runtime's a little too long thing. But I really enjoyed my time with it. I think it's super watchable. The main trio there is just like really likable, even when they're kind of being assholes. And so yeah, I think that this is a great moment in Seth Rogen's career.
Leia?
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I don't think I'm gonna go in. I don't think I'm gonna bid for it, but I agree with everything you said. I really liked, you know, you mentioning again this idea of like Seth Rogen playing himself, but this being kind of, you know, an understated version of that. I mean, I think that he finds so many shades and variations within this idea of quote unquote playing himself, and I think because he is a very naturalistic actor, he does not like, with the exception of maybe like an American Pickle, he doesn't like put on costumes, he doesn't do accents, he doesn't like do the Austin Butler, right? But so because he's so kind of naturalistic and natural feeling on screen, I think people totally underestimate what he does and underestimate what he can do and underestimate the value that he brings to a cast. And so I really liked your point about that. I think it kind of encapsulates what I like about him as an actor. And yeah, I do like this film. I don't think I'm going to bid on it. I haven't seen it in a long time. This makes me want to rewatch it. But yeah, I think I'm out for this one though.
Bryan?
I will also not be participating in this bid because it's a film that I haven't seen in a long time either. I remember when I watched it, I liked the first half of the movie, but I didn't really like the second half. Once Adam Sandler's character is kind of back to normal and then the rest of the movie progresses, I wasn't really as invested with that storyline as I was with everything that preceded that second half of the movie and everything. But I love serious Sandler. I love when he's able to kind of step out of the Happy Madison productions and show a different side of him. And I do like Seth Rogen in it, and I like that you brought that he's a bit more understated in this compared to other comedies that he's been in. But I definitely do need to give this another watch and everything. And I you talking about it definitely made me even yearn more for a rewatch, because before I was like, I don't really have a desire of ever going back to this. Now you bringing it up, I'm like, okay, maybe I need to give it another shot.
Yeah, and the movie does, and like I said, it's definitely a little too long, so that's part of it. But the movie does shift gears a couple times, and I sort of like that ending bit because, you know, it's I'm not gonna spoil it or anything, but he's, you know, he is in the process of reconnecting with Leslie Mann, and there's sort of this thing of like, you know, he's had this sort of trying to take hold of his life with this near-death scare and everything, and it kind of comes down to like maybe he's just not the kind of person who can connect with her on the level that she needs to, and the, you know, the idea that you can't just like have this near-death experience and say, okay, I'm valuing all the right things now. Like, you don't change overnight like that, and he kind of has to pick up the pieces of that and deal with that a little bit. So it's a little messier on the end. It's not just like a simple, he's turned his life around or anything. I think Seth Rogen says to him at one point, he's like, you had a near-death experience and you got worse. Like, you're like, this is, and yeah, so I think it's also very entertaining when Eric Bana plays her husband and comes to like beat him up for getting close to his wife, and Seth Rogen says something like, we gotta get out of here before he comes back. He was like, did you see his arms? They look like legs. Like a good line there. I don't know who wrote that one, but yeah, I think that it's just there's that messy shagginess going on, but it worked for me. It's definitely worth another watch, I think.
And I was reading as you were talking of how Judd Apatow made the actors write their own stand-up material, and you see them perform in stand-up in front of audiences. And it reminded me a bit of a recent film, Is This Thing On?, where Bradley Cooper had Will Arnett go around to these various comedy clubs and perform a stand-up act and everything. So I do enjoy a good movie about stand-up comics and everything. As a big fan of stand-up comedy, I really enjoy seeing them depicted on screen. So Funny People is yours for $50. You bid it on $50. Sweet. All right, what's going to be the next film?
Very good price. Okay, I think I will maybe switch gears here. I would imagine this get talked about at some point. Either way, but I am going to go for a movie that he is much more of a supporting player, not quite in the same, laugh out loud comedy genre that we've mostly been dealing with. I will nominate The Fabelmans here for $100. I feel like this is going to be somewhat popular. This is obviously we've been talking a lot about Spielberg in this past month or so, and I kind of really feel that this is his most recent movie until Disclosure Day. I think that kind of in most people's estimation, this has sort of aged really well. It's only 4 years old or something like that. But the idea that The Fabelmans just sort of, and I remember feeling this when it came out. I was like, that's a really good movie. I enjoyed watching it. I was, some solid stuff there. But thinking that it's aging better with time because it functions as such a skeleton key to Spielberg and his psyche and his career and what he values and how he thinks about. And I do remember when it came out, one of the most impactful, it must have been a tweet or something, some comment somewhere said that, wow, Spielberg must have heard Seth Rogen's laugh one day and said, yep, that's the man who cucked my father. I think needs to be mentioned on this draft here for that reason alone. Very important that, Seth Rogen, I think he functions really well here. I do think that there was some skepticism, like Seth Rogen's going to be in this, prestige Spielberg drama where he's like giving us his life story finally and everything. And I think there was definitely some skeptics that like, I don't know if he's right for this. And I think he acquits himself so well. I think that you understand his dynamic with Michelle Williams' character and the way that she can be attracted to him. He's sort of, contrasted with Paul Dano's character, who is a bit more buttoned up, and you can kind of understand what his appeal is. And so, the way that Sammy has like kind of, he likes him. He enjoys him as sort of an uncle figure until things get more complicated and everything. So, I think that this is kind of an important moment for him. Not that he had to prove himself or anything. I think he's very well established at this point as being talented in a lot of different arenas. But I just really feel like this is, like a major movie from a major filmmaker, and he, solidifies himself as a really important member of the ensemble here.
Yeah, I really like The Fabelmans. It's one of my favorite Spielberg films. I do think Seth Rogen is good in it. Like you said, it's one of his more dramatic turns. He has a few in his filmography. This is obviously a very high profile one. You mentioned it as like important in his career as far as, proving he can work with serious directors and things. I also think it's following this, this long shot press tour in 2019 where he was really, I mean, we're all on board here, right? We're all team Seth Rogen, but he was like really trying to prove that he was hot in 2019 because Long Shot was coming out. And I think the long shot press, the media leading up to its release was really in some ways responding to some of the backlash that Knocked Up had faced. And so I think, one of my favorite moments from the long shot kind of press tour was the GQ photo shoot that Seth Rogen did where he's a total smoke show. He's out on the beach and he's got his actual dog Zelda, who has now passed away. But he's like looking hot, and everyone on Twitter was like, wait, is Seth Rogen hot? And I'm like, yeah, he's been hot. But I feel like Seth Rogen getting cast as like the other woman is so, I love it, and I think it totally works, right? Like you said, he sells it. You understand his appeal, right? Sexual and otherwise in this film, to Michelle Williams. Michelle Williams' character. But I think like it's important for that reason too. It's kind of part of this in the last maybe, I don't know, 10-ish years. I feel like Seth Rogen's trying to be like, okay, is it okay for me to be sexy now? Like, are you ready? Are you ready to accept this now? And he keeps kind of pushing it. And I think The Fabelmans is kind of part of that campaign too, which I love. I love that Spielberg sees the vision. It's too small of a role, I think, for me to bid, but I do love the movie. I love the movie so much.
Brian?
One of my hottest takes of the entire decade so far is that I think The Fabelmans is pretty overrated, which is really disappointing to say because this is literally the most Brian-coded movie of all time. A coming-of-age film, a family drama, a movie about someone who has a love for filmmaking. This is literally my bread and butter, and I love Spielberg. I really, really do. And I like this movie, but I don't think it's a masterpiece that so many people claim it is to be. I do, however, really loved Seth Rogen in it. I think that he is unbelievable in this. He's so good. And he had done dramatic roles prior to this and everything, but I feel like for some people this was finally a reminder for some reason that, oh, if Spielberg is working with Seth Rogen, then obviously Seth Rogen is more than just the funny comedic guy. And yeah, I thought it was a very interesting choice to cast him as the person who, had the affair with Spielberg's mom. I think that was a very interesting choice for the casting, but I thought it was one that really worked. And I really like how he's very charming and likable, but then there's also the quieter moments with him, like the sequence where he gives Sammy the camera and he's like, if you quit doing this, it will break your mother's heart. I love that exchange. That's one of my favorite sequences in the entire film. I know it's a very beloved film. I don't know if I want it on my team because I feel like it wouldn't be fair for me to have it on my team. I'm not like Veronica and gonna put a film on my team that I don't like. I'm not like her in that regard.
Depends on the draft.
You're not gonna whore yourself out for the votes.
No, I can't do that to myself because I know that when I look back at the draft, I'm like, why did I put this on my team?
That was my hereditary maneuver, and it got me the win. So you know what? I did
You
what
also
I had
had
to do.
Uncut Gems.
I
Let's
was
be honest.
desperate.
Uncut Gems was more so, I think, the film that helped boost your chances of winning. Because at least Uncut Gems is liked by a majority of people that like A24 and everything. But yeah, I'm gonna pass on this bid. I'm gonna let you have it and everything.
I think when it came out, that was like your sentiment was much more widespread. Like I think it kind of came out, and everyone was like, "Yeah, good, like fine, fine." And I just think that it's growing currently as we, especially like in a year like this when we're all rewatching Spielberg movies and stuff. And there's I don't know if I've even rewatched it really since it came out, but I just like I remember it so well. And there's so many moments in hearing Spielberg talk about something or that show up in his other movies that you're like, oh yeah, that's makes me think of The Fabelmans. And so I feel like it's just going to kind of live within the film culture forever for that reason. And yeah, Seth Rogen has just plays such a pivotal part in it.
What did you bid it for?
I think I did 100.
Okay, 100.
2 in a row uncontested.
I'll take it.
See, I was wondering how this draft was going to go because I feel like Rogen's filmography is so varied. And I mean, like, depending on our tastes, I kind of wondered if there would be like not a lot of competition in certain areas. I love this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive how so far nobody has taken a film away from somebody. Like, that's a rarity that usually someone's film gets taken at some point, but that hasn't happened yet.
Is this the time?
And now that I just said that, it could happen. Although, I don't know where you two stand on this movie. I feel like Veronica isn't very high on this movie because she's talked about one of the people involved with this before, but we'll have to see. All right, we're gonna go into another dramatic Seth Rogen film. I'm going to start this bid at $100 to see where it progresses. I'm going to put on the board 2015 Steve Jobs, directed by Danny Boyle, written by Aaron Sorkin. Seth Rogen plays Steve Wozniak, the co-founder of Apple, where Michael Fassbender plays Steve Jobs. This movie has aged like fine wine for me. I was a day one champion of this, and in the years since it's come out, I have been riding hard for this movie. I think that this is one of my favorite films of the last 15 years. You could say what you want about Aaron Sorkin. Unfortunately, he's definitely dwindled in quality these last few years, especially now that he's directing his own stuff.
Yeah, he's going to stick to the writing. I don't think he's as good as a director.
I completely agree. And this is a reminder, at least for me, why he excels much more in the writing department than the directing department. Also, granted, it might help that someone else is directing his material, so that obviously has a play in that. So Steve Jobs, I've always found to be a really fascinating look into how to do a biopic, because instead of doing cradle to death of Steve Jobs' life, what this movie does really interestingly is that it's literally a 3-act structured film, and each act focuses on one launch event of a product that Steve Jobs was involved in. And each segment is so different from one another. One, because of the really cool decision to shoot them on different formats. 2, stylistically and vibe-wise, it comes off very, very different. It feels like you're essentially watching 3 short films combined into one. I think that that's a really impressive choice on Danny Boyle's part, and even Aaron Sorkin's part, to that matter. But Seth Rogen as Steve Wozniak, again, pretty small performance, but a very impactful performance to where when I saw this movie when it came out, this was really like, this wasn't the first Seth Rogen serious foray, but this was probably the first time he did a straight up 100% serious film, because the films that he had done before that had dramatic elements were dramedies, but this was a full-on drama. And I thought he kicked ass in the role. And never did I think in my life that I would watch a movie where he and Michael Fassbender are screaming at each other. And it's not even for laughs. You're genuinely on the edge of your seat because you're like, oh my God, I forget that I'm watching Seth Rogen. I feel like I'm a fly on the wall watching Wozniak and Jobs just butt heads with each other. And it makes for a really compelling film. I also would be remiss to shout out Kate Winslet, who is amazing in this. Jeff Daniels delivers one of his best performances. Catherine Waterston is very good. And a secret MVP, despite the fact that he is not super big in the film, is my guy Michael Stuhlbarg. Anytime he's in anything, he finds a way of stealing any project that he's in. Obviously, Call Me By Your Name, that's one of my favorite performances, supporting performances I think I've ever seen. But I love him very much in this as well. It's very sharp, it's witty, it's very fast-paced, as it usually is with Sorkin dialogue. David Fincher was originally supposed to direct it, and I'm really glad that he didn't, because it would have felt kind of like a love child of The Social Network. And Danny Boyle put in his Danny Boyle-isms, and it really meshed well with Aaron Sorkin's frenetic, hectic dialogue and pacing. And yeah, I think that this movie is so good. It was very underrated. Like, it was a critical darling, but it wasn't one that got mentioned a lot throughout the last few years. It got nominated for a few awards and everything. Fassbender and Winslet were both nominated for Oscars. I think both of them should have won, quite frankly. If you look at the lineup that year, I think both of them should have walked away with the awards personally. But yeah, I love Steve Jobs, and I love Seth Rogen in it specifically. I think that he is an underrated element of it that a lot of people don't give mention to. So yeah, Steve Jobs for $100.
I know you've mentioned my recent Aaron Sorkin hate for sure. I saw this probably a year or two after it came out. I remember catching up with it. I don't have a strong enough memory of it to feel one way or the other. I do remember enjoying it just, as a ride. And like I've said, Sorkin, even within his writing, I think the last few years he's kind of like just politically and psychologically, he kind of got stuck in like a late 90s, early 2000s mindset that like reflects in a lot of the writing that he does. So, I don't remember enough to see if I feel that way about this one, or I think he is very good at just writing about people and just writing dialogue, and it always is very engaging. And Danny Boyle is a fantastic director, a much better director than Aaron Sorkin. So, I definitely remember this being like a solid, good watch. But yeah, I would need to revisit it to see how I really feel about it. But Seth Rogen, I do remember giving a great performance, just kind of disappearing into a role, which, as we've said, he's not like perceived as doing that a lot of the time. So yeah, I will not join in the bidding for this one, but I want to give this one a rewatch for me.
Yeah, you should definitely revisit this one. I think you could definitely, like, in terms of like the Sorkin films where he's involved, I feel like this was one that you're going to lean a bit more positive on and everything. I haven't watched it in a few years, admittedly. I'd be interested to see where I stand on it now, but every time I watch it, it just gets better and better for me. And
how does it stack up with The Social Network for you? Because I know
it's like not as good as that.
Yeah.
The Social Network is on a whole other level. That's on a whole other planet for me. But this is like not far behind. This is like a good number 2 or number 3, because I also love Moneyball, which he wrote. So it's Sorkin in the early 2010s was pumping out really good work, but then when he started directing, it was like. Some people just aren't cut out for directing, just like how some directors shouldn't be writing their movies. So, Leah, are you going to partake in the bid on this?
I like that you mentioned Moneyball, because that was Jonah Hill's big dramatic role. That was his breakthrough in dramatic acting, and he was Oscar nominated for that, which they mentioned, and this is the end. But
it's Jonah from Moneyball.
Oscar nominated actor Jonah Hill. No, I really like Steve Jobs. I'm with you. I really liked this movie from the first watch. I am a big Danny Boyle fan. And the first time I watched this movie, I was blown away by Michael Fassbender. I think he should have won the Oscar that year as well. I totally agree.
Listen, I love DiCaprio, but Fassbender was better
that wasn't
in
give him
this.
an Oscar because he hasn't won one yet. Like that was not
Right.
because of what he was doing in The Revenant.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I really like Steve Jobs, and I do kind of enjoy it as almost like a companion piece to The Social Network. They are very different films, but I think they come from this kind of similar moment in time. They're both Aaron Sorkin, but I love the totally different approaches that the two films have. And I, like you, love The Social Network. That's one of my favorite movies of all time.
There we go.
But I don't think I'm going to bid on this one because I have another film in mind for my sort of, dramatic role slot in my lineup, but Rogen is great in this. And it is, like you said, it is one of the only strictly dramatic turns that he has in his filmography. But again, he does kind of bring that, like, whatever that, I always use the word anger, and it's not exactly anger. It's kind of anger, but it's like passion. It's like this fieriness, this like, I think of how much Seth Rogen yells in all of his roles. Like,
The thing is, when he yells in this, it's actually really terrifying.
Right, but I'm saying he's channeling something that I think
Yes.
is familiar from some of his other roles, and he channels it in a new way, which I love. And he has one of, I think, the most emotionally impactful scenes in the film. And so I do love Seth Rogen in this film, and I love this movie, but I'm gonna let you have it because I have another film I wanna highlight.
Sweet. Love it. All right. We're back to you now. So what are you going to draft
so
next?
I'm gonna stay on this Seth Rogen doing dramatic roles role, and I am going to nominate "Take This Waltz" from 2011.
That's what I thought you were going
Sarah
to put on the
Polley.
table.
Yeah, I think it's it's time to mention it. We talked about The Fabelmans, where Michelle Williams' character, cheats on her husband for Seth Rogen. In Take This Waltz, Seth Rogen is her husband, and she cheats on him for someone else.
Yeah, The Fabelmans is kind of payback.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this movie I had not seen until a couple days ago. It was like my one big Seth Rogen blind spot, and I watched it, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. I loved it. It's a movie about marriage. I am married. I've been married it'll be 10 years in December. The characters in the film got married when they were 23, or at least Michelle Williams' character. I also got married when I was 23. I don't know. There was just something about it. It just really resonated with me and spoke to me. I loved it. I love the kind of turn that this movie takes. You think it's going to be one kind of movie, and as you watch it, it's not that at all. And Seth Rogen is a key piece of why this movie works. He is so good as the husband. He's not really doing anything wrong, right? But he and Michelle Williams are just like not clicking at this point in their lives, and he's like kind of emotionally immature, and they don't know how to communicate in the way that they need to communicate. And she, gets this, they've been married for 5 years, so we'll call it the 5-year itch, not the 7-year itch. But she, meets this stranger on a plane, and it turns out he lives across the street, and she gets kind of obsessed with him. Like, they keep meeting, and she emotionally cheats on her husband. And she finally decides to end her marriage to pursue this other relationship. And again, the husband character that Seth Rogen plays, like, he's totally fine. Like, he's not doing anything wrong. It's just like they're just not working through their problems in a mature way because they got married young, and they are young. And I think about, there's a scene in it where Seth Rogen's character, I forget his name in the movie, but he's writing a cookbook about how to cook chicken, right? And so he's always cooking chicken. And Michelle Williams' character, she's like trying to initiate sex. She does this a couple times and gets turned down. And so finally one time she's like, comes up to him, and she's like, trying to initiate, and he's like, brushing her off because he's busy, doing his cooking. And she finally tries to tell him, like, hey, this hurts my feelings. Like, I take so much courage, is what she says, to do this, and then you brush me off. And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, and his line delivery is perfect. He's like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm just cooking chicken. And she's like, you're always cooking chicken. And I feel like that's like kind of the encapsulation of their dynamic in this movie. And he's like, I don't know. He's like goofy and sweet. He's so good. He's so good. I simply would not cheat on Seth Rogen that way. But it is, I would say, more of a straight dramatic turn. He's not really being funny in this movie. It's very much a toned down, more realistic, less douchey version of his like quote unquote man-child character that he was known for at that point. And he's really good. I also have to say it's a Canadian film. Sarah Polley made it. It's set and filmed in Toronto, so it's, Canadian boy coming home to Canada. So I like it for that reason. But yeah, I'm going to start the bidding at 50 for this one.
I have not seen this movie, unfortunately. Sarah Polley, Oscar winner Sarah Polley, who obviously made an appearance on The Studio, which was a really delightful surprise and everything. Yeah, this has been on my watch list for years. It's one that I've been wanting to check out for a very long time. And I remember hearing about it a lot when it came out because, Seth Rogen doing a non-entirely comedic role was a really special thing for people to see. And Michelle Williams is obviously, I still think, one of our best actresses working today. We didn't talk about this when we talked about The Fabelmans. I didn't really like her performance in The Fabelmans. I know what she was going for, and I understand why it clicked with a lot of people. It just really didn't do much for me, but she is forever going to be one of my favorite actors ever. And I would love to see the other film that they made together and everything, and you describing it just increased my interest a lot more. And, Sarah Polley, despite the fact that she hasn't directed that many films, she's only made 4 films, 3 narratives, and 1 doc. Women Talking made me go, she has it. Like, she has the goods. Like, she is a really exceptional filmmaker. And yeah, I've always wanted to check this out. So I unfortunately will not be bidden, but I am more excited to check it out now.
I love this movie, and I think I watched it around the time when Women Talking was coming out, because I wanted to see more of Sarah Polley's work, and it's like totally stuck with me since then. And yeah, you mentioned that like there's something about, she mentioned Michelle Williams' character mentions like something about she has like this like momentary melancholy kind of thing, and it's kind of interesting how like you've been talking about, Leah, with Seth Rogen and his anger or passion or fire, whatever it is that he brings to most roles. I feel like he very smartly sort of tamps that down in this, and you do kind of get the sense that like, yeah, they have this lovely marriage. Like they like play little games and pranks with each other and stuff, and like they're just like have this very sweet dynamic. But Michelle Williams just kind of has this like other inner life going on, and Seth Rogen's character is just kind of like, he's a bit more like surface level. He's a bit like just a happy-go-lucky guy and doesn't really have that inner like fire that we're used to seeing from him. And so it's a very smart like play on his sort of persona, because you would naturally think like, oh, someone who wants to, even just like Seth Rogen's persona with being in all these like sex comedies and stuff, the idea that like he's trying to kind of be a grown-up here and like not fuck his wife who wants to like have sex with him, like even just something like that is like, it plays on your kind of expectations and helps you like create this vision of this guy who is like, he's a good guy for all intents and purposes, but there's just some mismatch here with who they are at this point in their lives. And like you said, they got married young, and so this, they're both kind of like just developing, and they're kind of just going in different ways. And so yeah, I watched this, when Women Talking was coming out, which was the same year as The Fabelmans, and I remember thinking like kind of contrasting those two performances where Michelle Williams is, I think both characters are like, they're both a bit like quirky and kind of going for like this sort of like whimsiness, but they're both also very, very sad. They just have this like underlying depression. And The Fabelmans felt so much like showier to me. It was so much like putting on all of those different trappings of this damaged person. But like there's something about Take This Waltz, she is so lived in. Like she is just you understand the quirks of her personality, but like her insecurities and her anxieties are just like bubbling up to the surface. I think this is like one of her best performances for sure. And yeah, it's like you can just, I don't know, you just see that their dynamic just works so well. And then Luke Kirby is just like, he is so hot in
Oh
this.
yeah. Oh,
All
he's like a
respect to
perfect
Seth
dream man.
Rogen.
Yeah.
But
He's
like
like,
I understand her struggle.
yeah, yeah.
He's so charming in this. And
Hmm.
so there's that scene where they're like, obviously they can't don't want to hook up or do anything because she's married, and they like describe what they would do to each other, and it's just like so sexy
So
and like,
hot.
yeah, just crazy. And yeah,
And the sex
like,
montage when she finally gets with him,
yeah.
like that's a beautiful part of the film. But yeah,
Yep.
it's a sexy movie.
It is, it's sexy, it's heartfelt, it's a little bit funny. I remember liking Sarah Silverman plays Seth Rogen's sister in this. Like she has a good turn in it as well. Yeah, I really really love this movie, and I will. What was your bid on it?
50.
50. I'll throw it up to 100.
I'm gonna go up to 150 for I thought you were gonna be there when I died. Oh, when he says that line when she
God.
breaks up with him.
Oh my
man.
God. Well, you just remind me of that, so now I'll go 175.
200.
I thought this was going to be like my little bonus movie at the end that like no one else brought up. So I mean, I'm glad that you brought it up and love it so much, just like me. But yeah, I will. Yeah, 250.
This could be
How
finally
much
when
money
someone
do you
else
have
takes the
left?
film.
Could be.
You have more money left than me, so you're gonna outbid me.
You don't know that.
Yeah, this was my plan. This was my plan to be my last movie on my team. So I mean, I could make other arrangements, but maybe I don't want to.
So you put it up to 250.
Yeah,
I'll go up to 300.
325.
I'll go to 350, and that's all I can do.
Yeah, sorry, I'm gonna steal this one from you.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. I respect. Honestly, I
But
love
yeah,
it
glad
for
that-
this film because that's not what I
Yeah.
was expecting either. That's a wonderful surprise, and I'm glad you love it too.
Exactly. Yeah, I thought I was just gonna be throwing this out at the end, but yeah, it's definitely recommend anyone check this out who hasn't yet.
Yes, I will watch it right away. Don't worry. How much did you get it for?
Three
355.
375. 355. Yeah, because I did
55.
350. And
Okay.
The
Veronica's
numbers
team
fly
is
out of my
done.
head the second after I say them. I don't even remember.
All right. Veronica's team is done. Even though you didn't get this film, you get to put another film on the board.
I do. Okay. All right. I'm going to. Both of my films that I have on my team so far are leading roles for Seth Rogen. So I'm going to go back to Judd Apatow. We're going to do The 40-Year-Old Virgin. I
Nice.
love Seth Rogen in this film. I love this film just point blank. I love everything about it. I think it's, again, I'm a sucker for the raunchy but sweet, which this film is. Steve Carell is great in it. Catherine Keener's great in it. But Seth Rogen is part of the sort of like crew of friends or coworkers, really, of Steve Carell's character at the Best Buy knockoff. I forget what the what the store is called, but it's don't sue us, Best Buy. And
Smart tech.
yeah, there we go.
Sure.
Judd Apatow wrote this role for Seth Rogen, kind of off of working with him on Freaks and Geeks and Undeclared. And it's another like kind of douchebag role for Seth Rogen. It's another douchebag with a heart of gold role. But I think he's great in it. I think, again, I mean, not to like stay on this one train of thought, but he's so hot in it. He's so hot in this movie. Like, he's such a sexy douchebag in this movie. I really like him in The 40-Year-Old Virgin, and I really love The 40-Year-Old Virgin. So I'll start the bidding at 50 on that one.
I'll raise it up to 60.
Okay.
This is a fantastic movie. It's great. It's so funny. Steve Carell is unbelievable in this. It's also important to point out that he co-wrote the script with Judd Apatow.
Mm-hmm.
And this was a very big year for Steve Carell because this was also the year 2005 when The Office started. And obviously that ended up being a huge milestone of Steve Carell's career. I Yeah, Seth Rogen is hilarious. That whole separate trio of him, Paul Rudd, and Romany Malco are great. They're so good. Like, that's a fantastic trio. Then Carell is unbelievable. Catherine Keener is great. Jane Lynch is so fucking funny in this. I think constantly about, like, every time. Oh my god, the scene where she's saying the Guatemalan. Cuando ni no. Oh my god, so good. Then apparently, like, that was improvised, and then just seeing Steve's face, just like, not. I don't understand how some people are able to hold in laughter easily, and the fact that he just stood there like all stoic. I'm like, how do you do that? Like,
I know. On
how
these
does
songs
someone
where
do
it's,
that?
like, primarily improvised, and you don't know what's coming, or like, you know, a lot of it is improvised, and people just throw stuff out. I don't know how they're not like breaking constantly.
Yeah, I don't understand how they're able to successfully do
know.
that. But this movie is so funny. It's very charming, and yeah, $60 would be my next bid.
Okay, I'll go up to Kelly Clarkson, 75.
Had to be said. I love this movie too. I was on vacation recently and was like, you know, getting ready for bed, just kind of hanging out, and I was like flipping around. I was like, I could watch something on my phone or, you know, whatever. It was just on the hotel TV, and this was like, you know, obviously you have like a set amount of channels, and it's just like whatever random stuff is on, and this was on. I was like, what a perfect movie to just like, you know, watch on like a random hotel TV. It's just like something that, you know, one of those like when everyone still had cable, it's like something that played on cable all the time, and just like a great movie to just, you know, I missed the first like 20 minutes, but just like tapped in, watched the rest of it. It's just like such an entertaining watch. And then yeah, the ensemble there of Steve Carell and his friends, and yeah, I love Catherine Keener. I love Kat Dennings as her like daughter. She's so when she like screams and he's like, oh my god, it sounds like a tea kettle. Like so many good lines. They have to like de-nerd his whole like house and stuff because it's like embarrassing, and like they don't think anyone is gonna want to fuck him if he doesn't.
Which that
change.
is like that's Cal is Seth Rogen's character. That's Cal's idea. He's like, I think like women aren't gonna want to see your dolls around.
Yep.
And I mean, he is also in one of the more memorable moments of the movie, the whole exchange with him and Paul Rudd. You know how I know you're gay?
Yeah.
That whole exchange. Oh, it's so
Yeah.
good. Yeah, I'll let you have it.
Oh, thank you. How generous. You're just feeling bad for me because Veronica stole my film.
Sorry.
Partially.
Okay, I'll milk it. I'll use it in my favor. Poor little me, I got my film stolen.
Okay, we are back to me. I'll go back to a straight up comedy. I'll start off the bid low with this one and see where it goes. I'm going to start the bid at $20, and I'm going to go with Neighbors from 2014. The first of his collaborations with him and Rose Byrne, directed by Nicholas Stoller. When I think of Neighbors, Seth Rogen isn't who I think of right away, and neither is Rose Byrne. Zac Efron is fucking incredible in this. And as someone who has been a day one Zac Efron fan, watching High School Musical the night that it premiered 20 years ago, I knew from day one that man had the sauce. I knew he had the juice.
Yeah,
and when he
those
did
High School Musical films don't work without him. Like I'll die on that hill with you.
Exactly. I'm so glad that you're here saying that. I'm so glad that someone else could agree with us on that.
This is a pro High School Musical podcast.
It very much is, definitely. But also it helps when you have two people who love theater and musicals as the hosts of the show. So with Neighbors, we have Seth Rogen and Rose Byrne. They're a married couple. They recently became parents. They move onto the street, and then they learn that a fraternity is now moving next door and everything. And what I really love about the movie, yes, it's this very incredibly raunchy comedy about these two dynamics butting heads with each other, but I also really love what it says about Seth and Rose's characters, to where they still want to live young. They still want to have that same energy they had a couple years prior before they became parents, but now that they're parents, they miss their old lifestyle where they were going out and having a good time. They feel alienated from their friends because they have this big commitment of raising a child and everything. And then them befriending the fraternity helps them rediscover their youth. But then obviously all these shenanigans ensue where the heads are butting with one another, and it makes for a really entertaining comedy that, for me, even though I haven't seen this in quite some time, anytime I see clips pop up on social media, I will watch the reels in full and watch the sequences. I love the banter between everybody in this film. Rose Byrne, I also think, is outstanding in this. Like, she is. This was the movie where, actually, no, this wasn't. So prior to this, she did Bridesmaids, which I think is one of the greatest comedic performances I've ever seen in my entire life. And this movie was a further reminder that, oh yeah, this wasn't a one-time thing with Bridesmaids. No, she is a hell of a comedic force. And also, like, it reminded me too of how great of a fake American accent she could do, because her Australian accent is so fucking strong. And watching this movie, I'm like, how can you do an American accent so seamless? I think about this every single time I watch a movie with her where she isn't utilizing her Australian accent and everything. But I really love the button heads with each other. I think Efron is unbelievable in this, quite frankly, because for a certain period of time, people just looked at him as Troy Bolton. They didn't look at him as anyone but the High School Musical boy. But he had dabbled in a few projects outside of High School Musical. He did 17 again, which kind of felt like a love child of High School Musical without the saying. He played the basketball player in that. He did Me and Orson Welles, which is a criminally underseen Richard Linklater film that nobody talks about. And then he did this, and it's like, no, I'm more than the High School Musical boy. I actually can do other things, and he's hilarious in this. And yeah, I think Neighbors is a very, very funny movie, and it's a comedy that whenever it's on TV, I'll happily turn it on. I'll happily watch it. I'm not as high on the sequel, admittedly. The sequel was fine. It was, a typical cash grab comedy sequel that didn't do much for it, but it wasn't something that I hated watching. I was like, okay, I watched it, probably never going to watch it again, but this first one I think is a very good film. So yeah, I'm going to start the bid at $20.
Yeah, I like Neighbors. I think it's a fun movie. And I agree with you. It's Zac Efron's movie for sure. I personally, as far as Nicholas Stoller and Seth Rogen and Rose Byrne go, I really like Platonic, the TV series, which of course is not eligible. But I think in that show, they don't play romantic partners. They play platonic friends, obviously. But they're kind of old friends who reconnect and bring out the worst in each other, honestly, in hilarious ways. And Rose Byrne is so funny on that show. She continues to prove that she is one of our best working comedic actresses. She is so funny. And I really like Seth Rogen in it too. So I think for that reason, I'm not gonna bid on Neighbors. I would just I would pick Platonic if we're looking at those collaborators.
Fair enough.
But Neighbors is fun. It's a fun movie. It's a good pick.
Veronica, what's your stance on Neighbors?
Yeah, my team is done, and unfortunately, this is a blind spot for me, which is crazy considering how much I love Rose Byrne and Zac Efron. But
that's insane.
Yeah. I know. I don't know. I just never got around to it. I've heard good things, and everything you guys are saying about it sounds really good. And yeah, I'm sure that I would like it. But this is a blind spot for me, so you can enjoy having it on your team, Brian.
Sweet. And this isn't really a spoiler. Leah will obviously get this because she's seen the movie. The whole "I'm Batman" recurrent joke throughout the movie is really funny. And then the way it culminates at the end, the final usage of it is so good. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I just love these two button heads and everything when they have their big epic duel at the end of the movie, and then Seth hits Zach and he's like, "Whoa, wait, let's go!" And then Zach just like stands up and like breathes in, and then he's just like, "Okay, let's just calm down for a minute." It's really funny. It's a very funny film.
Yeah, it's a solid comedy. Yeah.
Yep. And now we're back to you for not only your final pick of the team, but the final pick of the entire draft. So you could spend however much money you have. You have $300 remaining. What are you going to put, and why is it going to be the Green Hornet?
I'm actually going to pick a film. I'm going to go with my heart here. Part of me wants, well, actually, I don't know if people still like this movie. Part of me wants to go with Pineapple Express because that is a funny movie. I like it. That's like one of Seth Rogen's biggest hits. It really cemented his sort of persona in the aughts as, Mr. Stoner extraordinaire, because it's kind of one of the modern stoner classics. It's a solid action comedy. I rewatched it, and the action choreography is really outstanding for the way it highlights how stupid people look when they fight in real life. Like, non-professionals fighting look like idiots. So it's very funny. Another standout Danny McBride movie. And of course, I love the Pineapple Express 2 bit in This Is the End. But I'm not going to go with Pineapple Express. I'm not going to do it, even though I think it'll get more votes potentially. I've got to go with a movie that's going to get me absolutely 0 votes, but that I love with all of my heart. 2008's Zach and Miri Make a Porno. And it's a Kevin Smith movie through and through. Yeah, I mean, Seth Rogen and Elizabeth Banks, who he's reuniting with after The 40-Year-Old Virgin, play roommates who are best friends from high school. And they have, they're in dire financial straits. Their power's getting turned off. They have no money for rent. They're going to get kicked out of their apartment if they don't get more money. So they go to their high school reunion and, feel like losers. And they meet this guy played by Justin Long, who's like in porn. And he and the popular jock from their year are, in gay porn together. And at first it's like, haha, it's a joke. But then Seth Rogen's character, it doesn't really matter how, but there's a video that ends up online of Elizabeth Banks' character, Miri. She's changing and, some teenagers like take a video of her and she's got these granny panties on. And this clip goes like viral on porn sites and she's granny panties. So Zach, Rogen's character, is like, we should make a porno. That's how we're going to make the money to make the rent. And so this movie is about the two of them deciding to make an amateur porn film and falling in love in the process. And so they're, it turns out that they have feelings for each other. And so at first when they're deciding to do this porn film, they're like, well, what's the big deal? We're just going to like have sex with each other and it doesn't mean anything. We've known each other forever. So we're comfortable with each other. Like, I'd rather have sex with you than some rando. And then, we're going to film it and make our money. And then, it turns out to be very sweet, actually. And I really love it. I think it's a really cute movie. I mean, it's totally crude. It is 100, like I said, it's 100% a Kevin Smith joint. But I really like it. I think Seth Rogen is really good in it. I think Elizabeth Banks is good in it. It was kind of my backup pick. If I didn't get knocked up, I'm like, okay, then what we're going to do is Zach and Miri Make a Porno, because I think that Rogen is working in a really similar kind of register in both films. Yeah, it's not going to get me any votes, but I love it. So I'm going to spend $5 on it.
As you should. Yeah, I haven't seen this and I wanted to try to catch up with it before this because it seemed also like I wanted another one where he's like the lead or the co-lead. And yeah, it seems similar to Knocked Up that way, where it's, you've got that central relationship. And I love Elizabeth Banks too. I'm sure that they're great together. So yeah, I'll check this one out at some point.
Yeah, this is one that I unfortunately haven't seen either, which is very disrespectful of me as a New Jerseyan, because obviously Kevin Smith being one of New Jersey's pioneer storytellers.
Also,
I feel like I'm doing a disservice, and I've met the man many times, and he's absolutely wonderful and delightful. And this is obviously separate from the View Obscure movies like Clerks and Mallrats and Dogma and all those other titles and everything. So it is always interesting whenever you hear about him dabbling away from that and doing something a bit more accessible, a bit more mainstream. And when you have Seth Rogen and Elizabeth Banks, who are two very bankable stars, headlining your film, that's obviously a really cool factor of it. I love reading that this movie came out the weekend after, fittingly enough, it opens the weekend after High School Musical 3 senior year came out. The movie opened at number 2 behind HSM 3. And at the time, with Seth Rogen being the bankable star he is, this was his worst box office opening ever. Yeah. And
it was released by the Weinstein Company, and they really kind of mishandled the marketing because they didn't really know how to market it. Because really what it is a straight up rom-com, but it's, filthy. So it's like I think they didn't know how to market it. So they kind of mismarketed it. Which is a shame because I like it. But it also, there's the New Jersey thing too, but you are also, if you're on the Seth Rogen is sexy train, this is a good this is a good one for you. Like he's very cute in it.
Yeah, I'm looking at a poster of it
selling.
right now. Yeah, he looks like a cuddly bear and everything. You ever see that clip of Billy on the Street where people are running around? He's like, "Oh, Seth Rogen has passed away," and then Seth Rogen just pops out, and then Billy Eichner goes up to these two gay men, and he's like, "Oh, gays. Seth Rogen has passed away. He's a cuddly bear and embraced among the gay community."
But
Why did anyone draft that for their team?
It was going to be an honorable mention.
Yeah, I was gonna say if I could have. I mean, jokingly because I like my team, but if I could have, I probably would have nominated the video that he did with James Franco where they were making fun of the Kanye West.
Oh yeah,
There's a video with Kim Kardashian on the back.
Yeah, that one's funny. That's a funny one.
Name of the song? Was it Bound 2, something like that?
I'm forgetting the name too, but I do remember that video. And that video
Anyway,
is pretty funny.
If you look up gifs of Seth Rogen, that's going to be the first one that comes up. Is him with the shirt off going.
Well, look at that, everybody. We have completed our teams. We have completed the draft. So we're going to recap our team. We're going to say the film and how much we spent on it. So, Veronica, tell us your team.
So I have Knocked Up, which I got for $360, Funny People for $50, The Fablemans for $100, and Take This Waltz for $355.
Did not anticipate Take This Waltz being a big spender. Did not anticipate. I thought that was going to be under $50 at least. But it's one of the top spending films, which is pretty crazy.
It's up there, yeah.
Makes me more interested to watch it now, just saying that. So my team, I have Superbad, which I got for $305, 50/50 for $100, Steve Jobs for $100, and Neighbors for $20. And Leah, what is your team?
I have This Is the End. I spent $425 on it. Top spender today. Woohoo! Throwing out that cash. I got Long Shot for $200, and The 40-Year-Old Virgin for $75, and Zach and Miri Make a Porno for $5.
Awesome.
Good teams, everyone. Good teams.
There's
Obviously,
a lot of
there's some
diversity,
films
a
that
lot of variety.
Yeah, there's a lot of variety, which is very nice about Seth Rogen's filmography. Is that it's very eclectic. He obviously does these very raunchy comedies, but then he incorporates some dramedies in between all that, and then he's dabbled in a bit of serious fare, which I really commend about him. So there's obviously some films that didn't make the cut. Are there any honorable mentions that people want to mention? Leigh, let's start with you. Are there any films you brought up Pineapple Express and you were considering putting that on the board, but you ended up not doing that? Are there any other films that you want to give a shout out to that weren't drafted today?
Yeah, I mean, I will say I didn't really consider it because his role is a voice role and it's so tiny, but he wrote it and produced it. I really love his Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie.
So do I.
Again, I'm a 12-year-old boy inside, so that movie delighted me to no end. But
that movie made me go back to my 10-year-old days. I was so happy with that movie.
It didn't feel enough like a Seth Rogen film to nominate, but I do love that movie.
Same.
I think the other one that I considered but ultimately didn't nominate because I don't really like the film as a whole is American Pickle. His performance is so good. He gives a dual performance and he's great in it. And I wish that the film was as good as he is. I don't think
I dabble in pickle business. I make pickles.
I don't think that the film as a whole it really works.
No, that film sucks.
So I kind of discarded it, but his performance is very good in it. We mentioned his TV work. I love him in Freaks and Geeks. He's so good in that. I mentioned that. Also, Undeclared, he is good in that show. There's one monologue of his that I think about regularly because You've Got Mail is one of my favorite movies of all time. And Seth Rogen reportedly wrote this himself. He wrote this and put it in the script. This was his contribution. He is a big proponent of rom-coms, which you can tell because he's in a lot of them. But there's this scene, he's roommates with Charlie Hunnam's character in Undeclared. And Charlie Hunnam's character's cooler than Seth Rogen's character. But they're hanging out and they're trying to decide what movie to watch. And so Charlie Hunnam's character is like, well, what's your favorite movie? And Seth Rogen goes, I should say something else, something cooler, but it's You've Got Mail. And he has this monologue about how like, oh, you think you're cooler than it, but then you start watching it and it gets you. And he just like waxes poetic about You've Got Mail, and they decide to watch it. And I think about that all the time. I love his ode to You've Got Mail. I would have nominated that if I could have. Those are my honorable mentions, I think.
Veronica, what about you?
I would shout out, I like his performance in Dumb Money, that movie from a couple years ago about the GameStop stocks. I think the movie itself is kind of forgettable, but I remember him being good in it. And then I saw the recent movie with him and Aziz Ansari, Good Fortune, and with Keanu Reeves, which
He's
was
good
like,
in that.
yeah, he's really good. It's like for everyone involved with it, I kind of wish it was a little better. It's very fuck the rich, which I'm always down for, but it's a little slow, it's a little stilted. I like kind of wished it was a little funnier. But yeah, he's very good in it. And then listen, I haven't rewatched it in a long time, but I remember really liking Sausage Party. I had a good time. I remember Nick Kroll as the douche just being like, I think that was probably the first thing that I noticed him in, and like he's like, generational voice actor, and yeah, just an all-star cast there, and I think I had a good time, but I don't know how well it's staged.
I rewatched it for the pod. It didn't hold up very well for me, unfortunately. Yeah, it didn't sit well with me. I loved the fact that we got a very hard R studio animated film. I loved that we got that and everything, but yeah, unfortunately, it didn't sit well with me this time. I just didn't think it was as funny as it was on the initial viewing. But in terms of honorable mentions for me, I love The Night Before. It's a yearly Christmas watch for me. That was the other Jonathan Levine, Seth Rogen collaboration. Also, Joseph Gordon-Levitt was in that too, and Anthony Mackie. I love the trio of them. I think they work off each other very terrifically. And Seth Rogen is probably my favorite of this entire trio because he's someone who's about to become a dad, and he's someone that kind of similar to Neighbors. He's like, oh my God, my youth is about to end. And then he is gifted with every possible drug out there, and he abuses the drugs to the point where he is on a whole other
high
planet.
as shit
He is
the whole
gone.
movie, isn't he?
He's high as shit the whole movie. He's coked out of his mind doing all these drugs. He's sweating from the top of his lungs. He has that great sweater with the Star of David on it, and the sequence when he goes to the midnight mass and he tries to contain himself, and everything's all over the place, and he's about to puke, and his wife, who's played by Jillian Bell. One of my favorite deliveries in the whole movie is when he's about to puke, and she's like, "Don't you dare throw up in here. Swallow it like a girl would." He is so funny in this. And then there's that whole sequence where he accidentally takes Mindy Kaling's phone, and he's texting this person and thinks it's his phone.
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh, should I tell him about this? You hear his voice in his head. He's like, oh, do I tell him about this? And I don't know. I love that movie. It's a great Christmas comedy, a very raunchy one for sure.
Michael Shannon is in it.
Michael Shannon is like, yeah,
My guy.
scene stealing stoner Jesus. Like, he's so
Love it.
funny. One that I want to shout out, even though his role is small, I really like the Kung Fu Panda movies. I like all three of them. He wasn't in the fourth one, which is totally fine because the fourth one sucked. But I like him as Mantis. I think that's a very good voice role for him. You brought Pineapple.
I like him in the Super Mario movie too. As far as his voice roles go,
He is a very good Donkey Kong.
I like his Donkey Kong.
But that movie...
No, I don't like the movie as a whole, really. But like for his performance, though, I like his voice.
Right. And another movie where he adds a voice where the movie sucks is The Lion King. But if you're going to cast anyone to play Pumbaa, that's a perfect casting. Like,
Yeah,
that
good
is...
casting.
that was from day one when they announced that he was playing Pumbaa, I'm like, yes.
You're like, well, duh.
Say no more. And the movie was absolute trash, but his voice was perfect for that role. So hearing him sing Hakuna Matata with my dearly beloved Billy Eichner, just, love it very much. Love that. And then one film that I also want to mention is The Disaster Artist. I know that it may be a bit of a difficult movie to talk about, obviously because of who's the lead and who directed it and everything, but I think it's another charming dramedy, and it's also a very inspirational story of these two people that are trying to follow their dreams and just put a movie out there. They make real Hollywood movie, and I like it. I think it's a very funny movie. It's a very endearing movie. It was nominated for Best Screenplay. And, you know, The Room has never been like, yeah, it's so bad that it's good, but it's never been one that I'm like, okay, this is like the most unbelievable thing ever. But it's fun, it's entertaining. But this movie, I remember loving it when it came out. I haven't watched it in a few years, but it's definitely one that I very much enjoyed. And you brought up Good Fortune. Veronica, he's very funny in that. There's many moments that I remember him. He's in a sauna and he like pukes and then he just starts laughing. And I'm like, what? It just made no sense. And then him being like, get me to God. I want to have a meeting with God. God, it's Jeff. Because he was supposed
he
to
really
do
felt that
Aziz
movie.
Ansari's other movie. Aziz Ansari was directing like a drama, and Seth Rogen was in that. Then it got scrapped because of stuff that happened with Bill Murray and everything. But he's been in a lot of good stuff, Seth Rogen. He's been in a lot of good stuff. And then in terms of the TV, I mean, The Studio, of course, masterful stuff. I haven't watched Pam and Tommy. I know that he got nominated for an Emmy for that. Did any of you guys watch that, Pam and Tommy?
I have not, no, but yeah, I know he's got a pretty big role in it.
Yeah. Never thought in my life that I would see him work with Sebastian Stan. Just a very interesting pairing and everything. But yeah, I'm trying to see if there's anything else that I would like to mention. You know, I haven't seen this movie since I was 11 years old, but he's very funny in Monsters vs. Aliens.
Oh, I've never seen that one.
It's a cute little DreamWorks movie. It's mid-tier DreamWorks, but it was still at a point where they were pumping out pretty decent stuff, and it's a good cast. It's Reese Witherspoon, Hugh Laurie, just a few people in that, and yeah, good movie. Will Arnett, Kiefer Sutherland, Stephen Colbert, Paul Rudd, Rainn Wilson, very very good cast, and Paul. I have to mention Paul. I like Paul. I haven't seen it in a long time. It's like a wannabe Edgar Wright movie because Simon Pegg and Nick Frost are in it and everything. They wrote the movie. It was directed by Greg Mottola, who directed Superbad. And if you ever wanted to see Seth Rogen voice a CGI alien, well, you better watch this movie.
There you go.
But yeah, that's it in terms of the honorable mentions for me. And then in terms of what he has coming out, how excited are we for Veronica? You brought up of your excitement for the invite. Leah, what about you? How excited are you for the invite?
I'm very excited for it. I love a sex comedy. I love a comedy of manners. I love all of the actors involved. I was not a huge fan of Olivia Wilde's last film, but I really liked Booksmart. So I'm always curious to see what she does because she garnered so much goodwill from me for that. I'm really excited to see it. It's a lot of anticipation for that one.
Veronica?
Yeah, I did not sell my Olivia Wilde stock throughout the entire Don't Worry Darling ordeal. I don't think that movie was her fault. Like I don't know about how it was like for everyone on set. I didn't have a great time, but I think her directing in that is still really solid. It's just a script issue with that one mostly. So yeah, and I've always loved her as an actress. So I'm definitely excited to see this. You know, what a foursome of actors like to get together. And yeah, the whole idea of it being a sort of seems like it's a one setting kind of situation, and I just like plays out like that. Like I'm just so excited for that kind of movie, and I think Seth Rogen fits into that so nicely.
Yeah, I'm really excited for it too. I didn't like Don't Worry Darling at all, but I agree with you, Veronica. The directing was far and away one of, I would say, the stronger elements of the movie for sure. But this looks outstanding. It looks so funny, and I like all four of these actors: Seth Rogen, Olivia Wilde, Penelope Cruz, and Edward Norton. I like all four of them. So, and I think it's going to be really good. And I'm a sucker for one location films that feel kind of akin to stage plays. And I know that some people are like, "Oh, it feels like a play." I don't really hate that approach to movies if it's done right, and this looks like it's going to be done very, very well. So I'm really excited for that. And then there's a film that he was in that premiered at Cannes called Tangles. It's an animated drama, and it got rave reviews at the festival. He's a producer on it, but he's also in the film. And we have Abby Jacobson, Julie Louis-Dreyfus, Bryan Cranston, Beanie Feldstein, Pamela Alden, Sarah Silverman, Bowen Yang, Wanda Sykes, a handful of actors. And I'm really excited to see this because it deals with Alzheimer's, and it's going to be a very heartbreaking watch. So I'm really excited to see that. And then he's also in the film called The Wrong Girls, which is directed by Dylan Meyer, who is Kristen Stewart's wife. And it's supposed to be a stoner comedy, so perfect for Seth Rogen to be in it. And the leads are Kristen Stewart and what's her name? Aaliyah Shawkat. I never know how to pronounce her name.
Aaliyah Shawkat, yeah.
Yeah, she's the lead of that. So, yeah.
Well, I think we did it. I think that concludes our Seth Rogen auction draft. So be sure to vote on our polls on Twitter and Instagram.
And with that, that is a wrap on today's episode of Some Like It Real. Thank you all for joining us. If you're interested in following along on our journey, you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd at Bryan Sutfield.
And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Vera Albarella and on Letterboxd at Alba_real_A.
And massive thank you to Leigh for joining us today. Leigh, where can the listeners find you? Thank you so much for coming on today. This was so much fun.
Yeah, thanks for having me on and letting me talk about my boyfriend. You can find me on Instagram and Blue Sky at the Mingtacular. I think that's where you can find me. I have a few other podcasts that are going actively right now. I'm also doing weekly recaps of the Vampire Lestat, the TV show, which is so good. So I'm doing that weekly. Trying to do more film reviews. So yeah, you can find me on Instagram and Blue Sky at the Mingtacular. Thanks for having me on. It was so much fun.
Thank you for coming on. Yeah. Seriously, this was so much fun. Loved getting to draft Seth Rogen films. Loved getting to draft with you. You'll definitely be back on. We're definitely going to invite you back on for sure.
My pleasure. It's an honor.
Maybe for an Oscar Isaac draft.
Oh, okay. Well, you have to give me that one. If you ever do that one, I think that's an automatic invite.
I'm pretty sure that's going to come up at some point.
Yeah, it's on record now, and if we don't invite you, then it will all be a ruse. But we will absolutely bring you back on. Go give Leah a follow. Links will be in the description, and you can follow the show on all socials at Some Like It Real, as well as on YouTube at Some Like It Real. Be sure to subscribe and share it around, and tune in every Monday and Thursday for a new episode of Some Like It Real on podcast platforms.
We'll see you next time.